the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on our regular schedule, which means your Tuesday episodes are with your hosts. As always, it's me, Kip, and to my left, I got CB. CB, how are you?
The sun is shining outside, and the sun is also shining inside. I'm feeling a lot better coming off the previous incident than I did last week when everybody listened.
Yeah, so shout out to Chris for not only taking all of my ball busting in stride, because we already knew you were healthy at that time, and we had known it, but you do seem much more chipper. And the sun literally is shining in the podcast studio as we're starting to look for natural light as we set up our video equipment. Hopefully by next week we will be, you can watch us jerk each other off on the internet instead of just listening to us. But we got a great episode for y'all today. We're going to talk Super Bowl eats, best places in Denver to grab your takeout foods, and a litany of other topics. But before we do that, Chris, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Standing Akimbo. It's the #1 medicinal dispensary, and they've got the hardware to prove it, from Best of Westward, or Best of Denver from Westward, to the fan votes and all of the accolades that come along with it. They've been known for not only providing you with great products at a great price, but the customer service is second to none. They offer online ordering now through standingakimbodenver.com, or you can check them out on Weed Maps. But they also, the selection is just constantly getting better, whether you're a concentrate, a cartridge, an edible, or maybe you're just an OG. You want to twist up your own flower or pack a bowl. They've got something for everyone. And they always listen to those that, if you give their input. So shoot them a message on DMs on social media if you're looking for a specific strain, or if you want to get your products on the shelf, give them a shout as well. They have the heavy hitters. They've got the friendly price 10 milligrams. They've got flour. The best prices from an eighth all the way to a pound. There's something for everyone, and they're located at 3801 Jason Street. So check them out. All right, Chris, so give us a recap. What'd you do last weekend? You didn't wreck any cars, didn't have any troubles, anything like that?
I didn't wreck any cars, didn't get into any legal troubles, so all in all, pretty good. Let's just say I sat this past weekend out for the most part. Took it rather easy.
We went bowling.
We did go bowling. That was a fun night. You know, we didn't get to go to the old school Wheat Ridge lanes because it was super busy, but we had fun nonetheless at the other bowling alley.
Yeah, we don't name drop chains too often, but the Bolero crowd and the scene was a good one, so we'll shout out that chain. You know,
the Miller Lights were delicious.
Oh man, we were sinking them like a stone. And speaking of stone, we'll talk about that coming up and what we're doing this week. But also, if that was all you did, Chris, it's all right. I'll pick up the slack because I had a wonderful dinner on Friday night.
Where'd you go to?
I went to the new Molotov restaurant, the Eastern European cuisine restaurant. So originally we were going to try to get into Stone Cellar Bistro, the fine dining establishment in Arvada. Turns out that place is dick to ass packed on the weekends now, so you will need a reservation. Go check that out if you haven't hit that restaurant. But Molotov, you definitely need a reservation as well, because we've mentioned it before, tight quarters in the former to the wind. Man, I didn't know what to expect in that food. I'm a borscht guy. I've always been a borscht guy, and I never even fucking knew it.
It's fun to say borscht.
Yeah, I feel a little bit more like, Uncle Tony when I say words like that. But they have a litany of, menu items that I had no clue what to expect. Certain words popped off to you like latke, or puff pastry. But at the same time, they have a very gamey main course entree, a really fun and playful, I guess, progressive thought on things like, there was a duck dumpling and a sour cherry borscht is exactly what the dish was. But I had a blast eating and just kind of, navigating around the menu. Saw some familiar faces in there as well.
What dish really made your nipples stand hard?
Oh, Chris, you're going to love this. I pitched a tent over the ice cream and cake dessert.
Which has to be strong coming from a guy who claims he doesn't really enjoy sweets all that much.
I mean, I say that as I fucking eat like 7 pounds of Nerds clusters, but they had this pistachio. It was like a layered cake, and somewhere in the middle of the cake was this thin layer of like a cheese. And so it looked like it had like a baklava or like one of our nicer restaurants' 1,000-layered lasagnas, but it was flaky like phyllo dough with this cheese in it, and then there's a pistachio ice cream next to it, and then it's drizzled with something that's not really sweet but not savory, and then more pistachios are sprinkled on crunchy on top. It was like a baklava had a baby with a cheesecake. It was fucking revolutionary. I mean, I was just like,
yeah, it sounds like it's right up my alley because I love pistachio ice cream.
I know you fucking do. And I even laughed and I was like, man, I'm not usually, let's pretend this is a good ice cream. When you pair it with the cake, so it was cold in this cake and the cheese were kind of warm, so it had a little bit of that. It was just so perfect. And then obviously the savory dishes were delicious as well. I went with the elk, a little, not underwhelming, but not like, oh, fuck. You know, you look around at other tables or, you know, people across from you and you're like, I wish I had that. That's what I had. And so there's something that starts, it's like cubalesse. I don't know how to say.
Right. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Cubil, blah, 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 blah. Lots of letters.
Go check it out.
Cuba leche or something like that. It's an entree dish, comes in like a bowl, and it's got this huge puff pastry on top of it. And I was just drooling. I was like, fuck, I want that. So I'm going to go back for pate because my partner didn't want pate as an appetizer, and that's to each their own. We don't judge, but there's something for everybody. They have fun, you know, dishes. There was a rutabaga latke. They have meats on a stick that come with a fun dill creme sauce. So like, even if you're not the most adventurous eater, but you want to support and try new restaurants, you can definitely find stuff that'll tickle your fancy. When it comes to the mains, mainly gamey stuff. There's fish. There's a vegetable option, rabbit in a clay pot. Not really in a clay pot, but that is one. It comes with a creamy porcini mushrooms and a rice. And then the elk, which I got, that came with like a puree of some sort, and then a little bit of these crunchies. Oh, it was like, I can't even remember what the crunchies were. It was fucking delicious, and the sauce over the top really made it, but I did have FOMO of other people's orders, so you know how that is.
Yeah, but it seems like y'all ended the night well, too, like a great 1-2 punch.
Nightcap over at Bo, the chef of Molotov, is also the chef and part owner. That same team owns Middleman and Misfit. We went over there for a little nightcap, 90s punk or 2000s punk, you know, just like the early Fall Out Boy, maybe a little Blink 182, some 41 in the rotation. Nothing crazy, just casual. But yeah, it was a nice night on Colfax.
Love that. It's always a nice night on Colfax.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the highlight of my weekend, Chris. The highlight of my weekend, the Golden Retriever Fest in Golden was a clusterfuck. Dogs as far as the eye can see, which is great. I loved booping the noses, and the food we had was just okay. We won't shit on the Cajun restaurant that is in Golden, but you kind of get what you get when you say that out loud. But after the Golden Fest, I went to, a friend of mine invited me to something, and it's a pop-up that's occurring in Denver, and it's becoming more regular as it gets nicer weather, you'll see more of the events. But it's called Vino Out the Trunk. And you may have seen us posting about it on social media, but what it is it's a pop-up party. And to get in, it's not exclusive by any stretch of the imagination, but you just have to bring a bottle of natural wine, and you put it in the cooler, and you can bring your own cups, or they'll give you a cup, and then there's just people chilling, hanging out. There's food out and about. They had dice going. I won a couple of bucks early in the early stages of the dice games. It probably gave it all back by the end of the night. I know I gave you some money when we were bowling, but it's just fucking fun. It's just getting to know new people in the community that have, you know, the same hobbies and interests, which are I love to gamble, I love to drink, I love to smoke weed. It just so happened those three things were on showcase, with people just goofing off, throwing dice and drinking natural wine and getting to know folks. You need to follow Vino Out the Trunk on Instagram. They announced their pop-ups just prior to, maybe one day or the day of, but it's a fucking vibe. And if you're one of those people that plan everything methodically, be less, be a little spontaneous and zig when everyone else zags, because this is definitely something you need to check out. The crew that run it, Armando, I think it was Jose, Mario was one who invited us, but the whole team over there it's just so fucking fun. I had a blast. And as you know, I love to gamble. So anytime you can mix natural wine and gambling, I'm going to be on my high horse talking about it.
And if you get a little hot hand with a little dice, who knows what can happen.
Oh, man, it was fucking funny. I walked up, won the first fucking roll, or won the first, I guess, round or game, $5 entry. So I walked away with $60 or $70 of everybody, and then played again and won that one. And they were like, what the fuck? This guy who doesn't know anybody is just walking in here and taking our money? Abso-fucking-lutely.
We play a lot of dice in Mississippi.
We do play a lot of dice in Mississippi. And if anybody ever has a spades game that wants me to play, I will fucking beat some ass. But at the same time, over the course of the next 2 to 3 hours, as the sun set and the mariachi band came in, I proceeded to give most of it back. But I brought a lot of that money over to the bowling alley as well. So it's a cool scene. Obviously, it's not just gambling. That was a byproduct of everybody goofing. They had a food truck out there, and then you get to try a lot of different wines. You get to meet a lot of other folks in the community that enjoy the same things that we enjoy. So if that is something that tickles your fancy, I thoroughly implore you to follow them on social media and go check out their next event. Woo! All right, 10 minutes in, we knocked out what we did last week. Let's talk about what we're doing this week, and then we'll finish with the Super Bowl rundown.
Oh, I will say one thing, though. We managed to go Saturday morning. We ventured up towards Longmont and hit up Babette's. And I haven't been there in a very long time. And just, if anyone's ever in that Longmont area, swing by, get you some bread, pastries, pizza. It's fucking spectacular.
Dude, I forgot as well. I also was in the Longmont area for unrelated reasons. I went up there to hit Rosalie's Pizzeria. Best pizza in Colorado, which doesn't take away from our kick-ass special we're doing here in Denver, but they are doing God's work up there in Longmont. But speaking of, Chris, we're segueing all the way back to things that we're doing this week. As you're listening to this, Tuesday, February 7th, I think, in the day of our Lord.
Oh, yeah.
In the day of our Lord, the week of Super Bowl. Our special food combo is officially available for purchase. You call Pizzeria Leopold, located on Wadsworth and 20th, and you call in the Stoned Appetite special. And Chris, you know what that gets you?
I have a sneaking suspicion it gets you some reefers.
Yeah, it will, but it's also you call it in. You get an appetizer, the meatball special. The red sauce at Pizzeria Leopold is fuck-worthy delicious. If it didn't give you second-degree burns coming out fresh, I'd use it as lube when I'm having sex. It's that good. Then it's got melted cheese and a little greenery on top. You get that, but you also get a one-topping pizza. And if you want to add more toppings to it, you can add to it. And if you want to pivot, you can do that. But you get both of those. And while you're waiting on that order, you'll get a beer or a soda to drink. But that's not where it stops, Chris. And this is where it gets you real excited. I can see that shit-eating grin on your face. You drive literally 0.1 miles down the street to Lefa Cannabis, Lefa Brands Lifestyle. They have a dispensary right there on Colfax, right down the street. And you go in there, and you'll have a coupon that you got from Pizzeria Leopold that gets you a free an eighth of weed as well. So it's called the Stoned Appetite Super Bowl Special. You pack the bowl with everything. Food. You got your gullet full of pizza. You've got an appetizer to start the party. And you can get the Stoned Appetite special, add an extra pizza so that you feed a group of 4 or 5. But you also got that eighth of weed. You can get home, twist that whole thing up so you're puffing tough all through the game. Or if you're a slow and steady rocker, you can just puff and enjoy that weed all week.
So quick question to clarify for listeners. When you get that coupon to go down to the dispensary, besides, maybe showing a little love for your bud tender, do you need to have any cash in hand to make that deal?
So when you go and buy your pizza special, you'll pick up the Pizzeria Leopold order first. So you'll go get the app, you'll go get the pizza, you'll get your soda or your beer, and then you'll drive 0.2 miles or whatever the fuck I said to the dispensary where you'll say, hey, I'm here to pick up the Stoned Appetite special. You got to be 21, but then you'll go in, you'll give him that coupon you get from the restaurant, and they will literally let you pick out of I tried to select a couple dank weeds, a little uppity for our Kansas City or Eagle fans, and a little down on the couch vibes for all the other 30 fucking Teams fans that live in Denver. So if you're just looking to get zapped and you want to get all jacked up for the game, maybe your team's playing, they got you. If you're looking for a little weed that's going to make you eat the whole pizza and pray that the Chiefs don't bring it home so that you are still the most titled team in the conference or division, we got you.
And let's be honest, don't let the whole fact that you got to go pick this up deter you, because trying to get delivery on Super Bowl Sunday is about as
it's
quick
like trying
as,
to get a fucking Uber on New Year's Eve. No matter, and we'll talk about Super Bowl foods once we finish what we're doing this week, but don't do delivery on Super Bowl Sunday. But you don't have to wait for this. Let's say you're craving pizza on fucking Wednesday, Chris. Just call the Stoned Appetite special in, pick it up on Wednesday on your way home from work, and you've got the eighth of weed to enjoy, at your leisure from now until you smoke it all. But that pizza will be good, right then and there. So it's you don't have to wait until Super Bowl Sunday to enjoy the special. But at the same time, if you're doing delivery food on Super Bowl Sunday, ring the button above your head and have Tommy come back to your seat and hit you with the tack hammer, because that's the exact concept. It's like getting an Uber on New Year's Eve. Or drinking and driving on it. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. So if you're listening,
not that guy, pal.
If you're listening to this podcast and you just realize, oh fuck, I ran out of weed, why not make it a whole ordeal? Grab a pizza and get free weed.
Did you say horror ordeal?
Ooh, maybe I mixed that up.
Whole
ordeal.
Yeah. Well, either way, you are right. While this won't have sex with you, this deal certainly fucks. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's running literally from today when Pizzeria Leopold opens until Sunday. You can order it for any day of the week. Fucking do it. Okay.
Tell Big Tom Callahan sent you.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we recommend you doing this week is joining us for the curling championships on Wednesday.
Woo!
Ooh, Chris. Sorry about
loud.
that. Sorry for those listeners that are in their car with their kids. The curling championships are running all week, and I don't know exactly how it fucking goes, Chris, but I know that me and DeHuff, my coworker that's our guest on the podcast Thursday at Mile High Life, we applied for media credentials, and so starting at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning until you get off work and join us, and we go till 10 p.m., we're pretty much curling gods and aficionados.
Now, is this a female curling competition or male curling competition?
It's both.
Okay, because
we don't judge here.
No, I know, but if there's anything I've seen from the Olympics, the women curlers are pretty banging.
Are you saying that they're great athletes, Chris? Or are you saying
great athletes with great looks?
Okay. And you're saying that the average house dad from Minneapolis, who is an Olympic gold medalist in curling from America, is not on the looks scale? Because that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think that it's probably similar to maybe
it's like the Amsterdam or the Netherlands field hockey team.
Yes,
okay. It's got some lookers.
I imagine the male contenders are probably like the people you see on ESPN de Ocho throwing beanbags into cornholes.
I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a lot of "they took our jobs" type crowd, and I can't wait. As somebody with so many pairs of bedazzled jeans, courtesy of the National Western Stock Show, I can't wait to flex again. And so this week, Wednesday for sure, is the day we are there. We're going to throw a fucking party. They're selling beer.
Nice.
It's general admission tickets, so buy it for the 7 p.m. wave and come find us. We're just going to be sitting there getting blitzkrieged.
I wonder what the chants are. Do you scream like sweep, sweep, sweep?
Yeah, we're going to work that pole. Yeah, so let's all as a community start working on some good signs and maybe, yeah. Sweep like your mother taught you. My mom taught us how to clean, and I swear to God, if we didn't do it right, we would do it again. We'll have to think of that. I don't know if we should edit those out. I mean, they can cancel it, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, we'll be all good.
And then this weekend, obviously, is the Super Bowl. I'm sure there are watch parties, and I'm sure there are pop-ups of crazy food. I would say that if AJ over at Little Arthur's Hoagies puts his heart into one sandwich this week, try that out. But if I had to guess, that motherfucker may be going to Phoenix for the game. I don't actually know. But I'm going to recommend to everybody trying Molotov if you get the chance. Definitely check out Hey Kiddo. That's another one that I've recently tried. But at the same time, it's a takeout and grill and chill type weekend. So that leads us to our third segment. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Chris. So I think we do this every year we've done the podcast. You're going to pick one dip, one takeout item, and one thing you want to cook at home for a Super Bowl party. What do you want on your table? I'll let you go first.
Okay, so let's start with the dips.
Okay.
What I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with a little bread bowl as the vessel to hold this dip. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to debate which dip it is because I could be irate right now or I could be very excited. It very much depends on what you fill this bread bowl with.
So I would love a bread bowl with, spinach artichoke dip.
That's
That plays. Like you got
It
the
does.
bread bowl, you got that top filling from that sourdough, and then you can throw some chips, whatever you want to dip in there.
Okay, I love this. And I feel like you went a little Martha Stewart on us, which I'm not mad about because are you talking about coring a sourdough yourself and then making the fondue, cheese, artichoke, spinach, all that in a pot and then doing dropping it in yourself?
Yeah, and then baking it.
Oh, you bake as well?
Yeah, I think you bake it, and then it kind of gets bubbly, and it almost, I think that's a good way to go. Or you could even audible and throw like buffalo chicken.
No, fuck you. Now that is a totally separate
Okay,
dip.
so
and that's why I was going to get
Okay,
irate.
so I'm staying with the spinach artichoke. That's what I would really enjoy.
Okay, and mine is obviously because you didn't take the BCD. I'm going to take it. The Buff Chick Dip is coming home with the captain, and I feel like this is the Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl of buffalo chicken dip. Like, yeah, you can use it on Labor Day for kickoff, or maybe you're having a cool little Saturday with the fellas in autumn. This is the day when all Philadelphia cream cheese, buffalo chicken, and Frank's wing sauce come together beautifully.
I hear you.
It's cold. It's a perfect dish, and oftentimes that vinegary cuts through that thickness of that cheese, so you can get a little bit more down in the colder months than when it's just hanging out at a tailgate in autumn.
So here's a very important question for you though. What is when you're dealing with this buffalo chicken dip, what type of chip do you like to use for the dip? Or what vessel is your go-to?
Vessel is the proper question here, Chris, because that's a great question.
I know mine.
Yeah, like if you're thinking, Tostitos scoops, no, fuck you. That doesn't hold up and you break the lip and then you're the dickhead who's finger banging the dip to get your chip out of it before somebody else can go and get some. So the key here is to there's two different thoughts. There is the warm, fluffy pita, cut into pizza slices, which I thoroughly enjoy, but gets a little bready. Some folks like the Santa Titos, which are a heavier chip. I personally don't hate going celery here because the snap of the celery, the creaminess, the buffalo sauce cuts through it, and then you get a little chicken that falls into that vessel of the tunnel. It's a perfect ambassador, and it's the only time because if hummus is on the table, you've got to stop. You have too many Coloradan natives in your group.
Yeah.
Like you don't need hummus with celery. You need celery with a buff chick dip.
Okay, but I'm also going to say this is, over the years, I've been checking out chips and stuff with the buffalo chicken dip, and I got to tell you,
the blue corn?
No, I got to tell you, Frito scoops. The Frito scoops with buffalo chicken dip, it works because you can get they're sturdy.
They are sturdy,
and it's almost like I
feel like
it's almost like you're working with a sand wedge.
It does.
And it feels
like kind of like a Coke spoon, though. Like it doesn't have enough, and then you get it on your thumb. thumbnail. Like,
I don't know though. It works though. So I implore listeners if they're gonna try some buffalo chicken dip, get some Frito scoops.
okay, I don't hate that idea because I was thinking you were going to go with those little thicker blue boys, that have a little.
No, those are
seasoning.
good. But
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like
but somehow,
Sprouts has them.
Somehow the Frito scoops, they really taste.
There's a
fucking
little
delicious.
more depth. They just have that kind of like that weird curl to them.
It's like a highlight.
Yeah, it is very much. It's like the reverse of my penis. Like it doesn't shrivel up. Mine shrivels down. Yeah, it's very much like that. All right, Chris. So we covered a pretty good. You went a little Martha-y on me. I went a little more.
Okay,
stoner.
so I got the spinach artichoke dip. Now I get one takeout.
Yeah, what's your takeout?
So since I covered spinach artichoke dip, I'm not having any buffalo chicken in there. I'm gonna get wings.
Okay.
You're gonna get wings.
All right, that's fair. Now that's a totally cool spot. Now, if you're doing takeout in Denver. Give me your top 3 that you're thinking you'll be able to get an order. And by the way, if you're doing takeout anything this week, order ahead of time. If you try to order Fire on the Mountain chicken wings on Sunday morning, you silly bastard. Ring the light.
Yeah.
Call Tommy.
I love how we bring Tommy into this.
That's our reference for not using foul language.
Yeah.
Ring the bell.
So I would say, and in fact, like planning ahead, call some of these businesses and just see what they prefer you do, because I imagine you can probably place an order now.
Yeah,
and
they'll gladly take it.
Get,
if you're
get ahead of
listening
the
this
game.
Tuesday, they'll give you an attaboy and tell them Stoned Appetite said that they should call early, and they probably will come on top of your food. I don't know if that's a win, but it's not a loss.
You may not need those moist towelettes after all.
Yes, sir.
So I guess, like, obviously, Fire on the Mountain would be a go-to spot, but also, Foking Rapidos is doing a Super Bowl pack.
They have their chicken game, Chris. It's up there. I mean, even on their not Super Bowl days,
right.
God damn it, they kill it. And he's just fresh off of vacation, so Long's cooking with passion.
And obviously, like, reach out to them ahead of time. I think they already have, like, info going out there, like, we need orders by such and such. So be sure to check that out. And guys, don't think like, I mean, prices for chicken wings right now are high no matter what.
But they're actually not as bad. So, like, capitalize.
Right.
Like, if you're like, oh, God, $24 for 30 wings or whatever, or reverse that, $30 for that's actually a pretty good fucking deal. It's probably about $1.50 to $2 a wing if you're buying small. So if you do a catering order, don't be a cunt. I say that word casually on this podcast. This is the time that you realize what the cost of food is.
And if you're paying that, it's saving you time from stressing about Super Bowl Sunday. You just get the wings and you're good to go. So
I love that. I will piggyback on that, not because I'm taking buffalo wings because you did, but Saucy Southern, who I did the Hot Ones challenge with, their grilled wings, they do them over fire, open wood fire. Chris, let me tell you something. We got to get Key on the podcast because they're doing the Lord's work in their chicken wings over there. And he has a THC infused buffalo sauce that you can buy at dispensaries around town. Oh, my God. And obviously the wings at his restaurant are not infused, but he has a bunch of different sauces. The mango habanero slaps as well. But shout out to Saucy Southern. That's some fucking good chicken wings, too. But who would yours be? PKR, Fire on the Mountain, and who is your third if you want to give a rec?
My third one?
Saucy? You want to go Saucy?
Yeah, let's go. And
okay.
I've never had that. So that's definitely my next wing craving. I'll check those guys out for sure.
For sure. And obviously, we love our friends over at King of Wings, but until they get opening, I think the best grilled wings right now are Saucy. You've got me thinking, like, obviously takeout, you've got to kind of pivot, Since I did the buffalo chicken dip, I can't really double down on that.
No, that'd be bad taste.
That would be the couth would not be there.
No.
And so I think I'm going to lean heavy on the Pizzeria Leopold here.
Okay. Because
they have great bread. So like the dough, it's not like it has integrity. It has the ability to hold its texture underneath. They still have the party pizza vibe. So like even if it congeals by hanging out on the table, it still eats well cold or even reheated. So it's perfect for second half, which is key. You have to think what holds up over 4 hours, but you want it there for when all your guests arrive. Pizzeria Leopold's going to be in there, and it's not all in all going to break the bank. Obviously, we love some of the other pizzas in town, but they get a little pricey, and they may not go as far in terms of slices. These are normal, good old-fashioned northeastern style pies with a little bit more giddy up in the carry-on underneath, and a little bit of volume in the.
And if you go that route, you get a little PEDs.
You do get a little cannabis with it, and you can add more pizzas on top. You get a free appetizer. And if you show up a couple minutes early, if you have kids, you probably know this move, but ordering a takeout and then getting there 10 minutes before your order's ready and ordering a beer and adding it to your total, it's a pro moves from a bunch of fathers, but also from a bunch of alcoholics. So
yeah, if you aren't doing that move, check yourself.
That's kind of what the beer is supposed to be for, but we don't encourage drinking and driving. So if you need a top on it, they'll take care of you. If you need a sippy cup or you want a Coca-Cola, they got you. That's going to be my takeout. So I'm going Leopold, and I thoroughly recommend if you're ordering not the Stoned Appetit special, the prosciutto arugula pizzas. Oh, God. As well. Okay, never mind. I'll let you order what you want.
Okay. Now what? Cook at home dish?
Yeah, what's your at-home cooked dish?
So I'm going to go with a crowd pleaser here, something that everybody can get down with, and I think chili. I think chili wins. I debated on maybe having some cocktail style weenies, in the sauce. Everybody loves to dive into those, but those are good Super Bowl eats. But I think overall serving a crowd, I think I'm going to go with a nice bowl of chili.
You son of a bitch. I love that call. That's a great call because you can have the build your own bowl where your Fritos will come back into play. So you can go big bag, extra large scoop and start a Frito chili pie convention there. And that's a very versatile move because everybody knows those corn chips usually they don't do anything but collect dust after parties. No one's going, oh, I got some Fritos at home.
Sweet.
And if you do, then you are probably the people that enjoy federales for tacos. But at the same time, that's a pro move because you can add the jalapenos, you can add the cheese, a little sour cream. You can make it soupy, or you could throw it in a wrap if you want to make it Sonic-y.
And, the thing is, too, during the Super Bowl, you don't want to be, grilling. You want to be relaxing and enjoying the game, drinking beers, chatting with people. And chili, you just throw it on the fucking stove or put it in your crock pot, and people can go and get it when they want.
I think that's a great play. And it's a serve yourself. It can be great for if you went heavy early, it's kind of like putting the sand in the jar. It gets around the big rocks and it fills up in those small crevices. It really sets you into that coma post game.
Pairs great with alcohol.
It very much does. You know what else pairs great with alcohol? Breaded weenies. And I'm talking pigs in the blanket. That's
another great call.
That's my homemade dish. So when you started talking weenies dunking, I didn't want you to dunk on them too hard because in the words of Clem, that's a swish. When you get one with a little Creole mustard and you get a spicy barbecue and you kind of double dunk, you sprinkle them with a little bit of sesame seed over the top to church them up from appearance sake.
Yep.
Chris, it's a fuck-worthy snack that almost everybody can enjoy. Shout out to our ladies over at the
and it's one of those things if you get up and roll them in the croissants early in the morning, then you just leave them there and then all you got to do is throw them in the oven. You don't miss any action.
Yeah, they kind of take care of themselves, and every now and then you can zap them for 10 seconds, and those croissants get a little bit warmed up again. It's a go-to, and if they're left over late, it's a great thing tomorrow morning. Be like, well, we still have these. I'll eat these.
And you got to dip them in mustard.
Yeah, Creole. If you can get Popeye's Mardi Gras mustard, that is the play.
I think we covered it. If you need any questions about Super Bowl food, I think we've got you covered.
Yeah, and I think we've tried to give the community a little bit of insight on where you can get some food. Obviously, if you're ordering pizza, chicken wings, any pub grub from a very reputable spot, places like Cart Driver, places like Blue Pan, Denver Pizza Company, Redeemer, all of them, give them a buffer. Call them well in advance. I'm sure they would love to be able to take your Sunday order today so that they can plot methodically, but also don't try to pick that up at 3:30 at a 4 o'clock tea. Go get that puppy at 3 o'clock and just get home and crack yourself a nice little tequila soda.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like by now everybody probably has a good idea of what they're doing for the Super Bowl.
And if you didn't, hopefully you're ordering Pizzeria Leopold because beer, weed, appetizers, and pizza.
And football.
And then you've got the football on your couch. It's fucking perfect.
Okay, now real quick before we segue into another portion, what is your prediction for the Super Bowl?
I think the Eagles win 31-23.
Okay.
I think that the Chiefs are down 2 touchdowns and change with 4 minutes to play. They score a touchdown, go for 2, get it to be down 8. And then they try to hold Philly off, but Philly runs outside the tackles away from Chris Jones and Frank Clark with Miles Sanders, and then maybe Jalen Hurts for 4 yards gets the first down and run out the clock. And then that's 2 divisional champions. 4 divisional championships since the last time the Cowboys have won it. What about you? Who do you think's going to win?
I think the Eagles are going to take it home.
Yeah, I mean, if Patty was healthier or if maybe his wide receivers weren't just like lazy pieces of shit. Like, it seems like there's only 2 people out there on any given week. Like, Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't been healthy.
Right.
Fucking Kadarius Toney hasn't been healthy. The only staples right now they have are Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Travis Kelce. I'll probably take over on every prop for Kelce.
I wonder if they're going to throw a bet up there on whether or not Kelce's brother, who plays for the Eagles, whether or not their kid's going to be born. Because apparently his wife's like 38 weeks and they're bringing the OBGYN to the Super Bowl.
Oh, so the wife's like, I'm not fucking missing this either.
Yeah, so they're bringing their doctor.
That's pro shit right there. I brought something up on Twitter the other day. Fuck it, we'll talk about that later. It was about the Pro Bowl and flag football, but it didn't hit even like. Obviously, they don't even hit in the normal Pro Bowl, but it just didn't do it. I don't know. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. But speaking of watching things, should we recap some of the shows we were...
Have you watched Last of Us yet?
I promise to get into it, watch it this week.
Chris.
But I do have a newer show that I started watching this past week, and it's hysterical.
Well, at least you have something to bring to the table. Give it to us.
It's called Shrinking, and it's on Apple TV. It's got Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. It's kind of the main characters, a couple other main characters, but I think it might be from the writers of Lasso. So it's got like that feel-good comedy vibe where you're really nice. You're really rooting for those characters just to like excel in life. They've had some ups and downs, but all in all, like they're taking it well, and it's really funny.
So I've heard that it's really good. I have not dipped into it, and I think we've talked about this before. I forgot to update the Apple TV debit card when I lost my most recent wallet, so I just never signed back in, and so thus I'm not watching anything on there right now. But it kind of has a What About Bob feeling to it. Is that the best way to describe it for those that maybe grew up in our time frame and remember the Richard Dreyfuss, Bill Murray 1-2 like whimsical, like, oh, woe is me, but also witty?
Well, yeah, it's all centered around like Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. They're therapists, and so
both of them.
Yeah, so like they work together at their kind of like therapy clinic, and so Jason Segel's like he experienced the loss of his wife, which it's not a spoiler alert, that comes out fairly quickly. But he's like trying this new way of counseling and therapy, and he's just like kind of saying like, okay, man, like you've been doing this for fucking years. It's not working out for you. How about you just like not do that and say fuck that and go this way?
It's kind of like I love you, man, in therapy.
Yeah, it's spectacular. It's great.
All right. Well, in a much different tone, a bunch of people died this week on Last of Us.
Okay. And you know what's funny is I saw the main character in Last of Us like hosted SNL this weekend.
Paquero?
Yeah. So he seems like a funny guy. And yeah,
well, this isn't a funny
No, I know. But I need to I promise by the next episode I will be caught up.
Okay. Well, that's a promise. And Chris only lives up to like 99% of his promises. So if he fails us here, we'll all be really shocked. I'll start Shrinking This week, you've got me hooked on it. Hopefully the listeners will contribute as well. Oftentimes when we talk about Last of Us, people will chirp us in the DMs and things of that nature if they liked it. I thought episode 4 was solid. We're back on the main plot. Episode 3 was a doozy. There was some doozy deaths in today's episode, or this week's episode as well. Like, you're like, God damn, this is hard to watch. But it's good television. And so it keeps me coming back, and it makes you, like, at the end of this one, like, because they got you up at like 30-ish minutes, by the end of the episode at 48, you're like, I'm still, like, heart's beating, things are intense as fuck. Let's keep going. And it's just, I wish I had waited to the end and watched all 8 episodes or 10 of them, but it's fucking good, and it keeps you wanting more, which is, I think, what you look for in a television show. So we've got 2 shows now on the must-watch. Anything else you caught this weekend worth the thing?
No, but it was kind of funny. Like, I'm not a big, awards guy, like watching those shows for like the Oscars and all that stuff. But actually last night we watched the Grammys, and it was actually really.
Who won what?
Was it Styles won Best Album of the Year.
Classic. Somebody actually told me I looked like Harry Styles, and I was like, well, thank you. I'm going to screenshot this and share it with the world.
Yeah, and then Lizzo got Best Record of the Year.
That's our girl.
Yeah. And then Beyonce won some Grammy for the song, so she is now the highest winning Grammy person ever. And
that's Queen Bey.
Yeah, and Bonnie Raitt took home a Grammy, which was good to see.
Really?
Yeah, she was completely shocked, and she like performed during the thing, kind of like the song of hers that won Best Song of the Year, I guess, was kind of written as a homage to John Prime. But it was really cool. And then
that's awesome. It's kind of like when Sturgill won a couple years ago. It was like Pound Sand to the world.
And the performances were awesome. Like Stevie Wonder came out with Chris Stapleton came out with them, did some performances, and then they did this new award for hip hop, and Dr. Dre obviously won that. So they named this new award after Dr. Dre, but they did this whole like 50-year anniversary thing of hip hop, and they had like Run DMC, Salt and Pepper come out. They had LL Cool J perform. Like, so it was this big mashup, and then like Jay-Z came out there and did this huge performance. It was pretty damn cool.
That is really cool. Okay,
like it was actually a worthwhile. Like, it was entertaining and not like some boring award show.
All right, before we leave, you can hear the dogs. They're ready for a walk. Best halftime performance you ever saw on Super Bowl?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean,
Prince, In the Rain.
Prince was badass. The titty falling out was pretty funny too.
I didn't even see the titty, and it was
nobody did.
It was back when like you couldn't rewind your television, and I mean, we grew up in fucking Mississippi.
Unless you had that
looking
TV.
at like TiVo.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. And our TVs were all standard def. I didn't see no nipple until I was like 2021.
I don't know. I don't know. I remember Michael Jackson one being pretty awesome back in the day.
Jesus fuck, how old are you? That
40.
was like 92.
I'm just kidding. I'm not 40, listeners. Close.
Chris is
but
40.
Anyways, yeah, it was back in the day, but that one was really cool. But in modern times, I would say Prince was it.
Okay. Well, Chris ruined it by telling everybody he saw Michael Jackson in 92 right here at the end of the episode, you old bastard. But that was a doozy. I thought we had a really good episode, and we have a really great guest. Thanks again to our sponsors, Standing Akimbo. Y'all, for sure, if y'all love us, you'll go get the Stoned Appetite special from Pizzeria Leopold. It's a great pizza. It's a great deal. You get fantastic weed from our friends over at Lefa. And, of course, we got the appetizers and the booze to match. So I hope everyone has a great week. We love y'all dearly. Everyone stay high, stay happy.
Grab a Pizzeria Leopold special.